Hello! You are watching the Hustle and Know Entrepreneurial Experience. We are an entrepreneurship book club moving into the podcast /vlog/blog/ whatever world. So, my name's Julie. I'll be your host today. And I also have a passion for knowledge and learning more. And joining us, we have Joseph Warren, co-owner of Financial Planning HQ. And then we also got Shawn Townley over here, who's our producer. He's a consultant, entrepreneur, speaker, and geek. So today we are going to discuss the book Social Media Marketing for Beginners 2021. Ooh, I like your timing there. By Chandler Miller and Donald Priest. I think that's how you say it. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so first question, team, is what is the synopsis of the book? If you were the author, what is the main point that you would want the reader to take away from the book? Who wants to go first? First video of 2021.
I'll go first. I'm excited.
First. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, let's make Joseph go first.
In the hot seat. First of all, I want to say that I missed you, Julie. I missed you, Shawn. It's great to be back together, making these videos. And I wish I could say that this was I didn't like this book at all. I'm just going to start with that, just to preface. But
go for it.
What he's saying is that you should learn how to use social media for your marketing, and that you should use it correctly and with a strategy for what you're doing. That's basically the synopsis of the book.
Yeah. I agree. It's kind of in the title, social media marketing. It's about like how, back in the day, if you're like a big company, you had to have all this money to be able to market because you have to do commercials, billboards, whatever. Now, it's kind of like the small person can compete with the big company, all via social media. It's just so much more reasonably cost-wise, definitely. And even if you're doing organic, it's free. Like, all these platforms are free. So yeah. I think that's, of course, a main part of it. But also, I think a main point is he really goes into branding a lot. Branding. It's super important. Basically saying your goal is to make your brand so irresistible that you don't need to look elsewhere, like to a competitor. They're like, wow, I click on your website or your social media, you're killing it. I don't even need to go see who else is making these things because you got it right here. Yeah. So I think that's what the main point is how do you make your social media and everything so desirable, your brand so desirable, that you're the only one out there. What about you, Shawn? What do you think?
Hey, who remembers looking up where to buy something in a phone book? Who remembers getting the Sunday paper just to go through the ads?
Dang boomers.
I'm old. I'm a boomer.
I am Gen X. There's no reason to insult me. Yeah, I'm those tweeners now. I'm in the old world and the new world. And this book was telling me that, everything that I grew up doing is stupid and wrong. It's stupid and wrong because nobody does it anymore. I'm surprised the dude didn't say billboards are stupid too. Does anybody even look at billboards? No, they're too busy looking at their phones while they're driving on the road.
True.
Hot take.
I see people always looking at their phones while they're driving. You have a good point. I was like...
True. Well, what if they're changing the music from their phone on their Bluetooth? You don't know if they're texting.
Are you sure they're not changing it from their... Oh, yeah, maybe they are.
Either way, it's wrong.
The thing with billboards...
It's illegal in San Antonio.
Well, in San Antonio, yeah. Not other places,
yeah.
I think. Or is that... No, I think maybe texting is illegal everywhere, but talking on the phone is not illegal everywhere. It is, though, in San Antonio.
Hands-free.
You have to have a hands-free device. And so how many people do we see driving around with their phone stuck to their stupid head? This is 2021. I'm sorry. That's not what this conversation is about.
Oh, I love it.
I know, we can go on. Anyways, yeah, so like billboards and commercials, it's just, you can't really measure the success of that, And even if you could, I think people tried. Like if it's a restaurant billboard and they get like little note cards at the end after you eat at a restaurant to say, fill out, how'd you hear about us? Even then, like, who's going to pick billboard? Like, it's just kind of a waste of money. But yeah, that's neither here or there. Okay, so moving on. What is something that you liked best about the book and what you disliked about the book? Joseph, how about you, since you say you disliked it so much? Why don't you just start us off?
Let me start with what I disliked about this book. I think it's impossible to get a physical copy of this book, like a written copy, but it's like a reference book. So it's like, what am I supposed to do? Like go through an audiobook to find like that nugget of advice? Like how do you do that?
It's an ebook, dude. Come on, give it the times.
No. I didn't see an ebook. I got it on Audible, and I tried Amazon too, and they didn't have an ebook there.
Because by the time it's written, by the time you finish it, it's old news, man. That's why we're doing it here at the beginning of the year.
Okay. It's a reference book, and a reference book should not be an audiobook, because how are you going to look up the words to find it?
My goodness. Just
wrong. Second. This it's just like things you could Google. So you could Google like, how do I set up a Facebook page? It's for like big time beginners, I think. And they give you so much unnecessary details. Like they'll say the picture has to be 800 by 800 pixels. Like you could straight up just Google that. Like what should my profile picture be? I'm pretty sure if I set up an Instagram, it would say your profile picture should be 300 by 300 pixels. So they're giving you information that is just useless, in my opinion. And there's no stories. Like it's just like, this is how you use Facebook. This is what Facebook is for. Like there was not one story throughout the whole thing. No success stories. Just like this person's opinion of like, this is how you should start a brand. Don't be too silly. I didn't like that either. He was saying like, don't be too real. I really enjoy Gary Vaynerchuk's approach way more of not trying to be like super professional. And I say this as someone who is super professional, like all the time. I love that way more than like this of like, you have to be a robot. Don't be silly. Don't joke around with your audience. So I disagreed on multiple levels.
What? It depends on what brand you pick, you know, like if you are going to make a personal brand, if you're going to be like the tech guy or the person that knows everything, the expert in that field, and if it's for tech related, then yeah, you don't really want to be like that goofy or anything because it kind of damages your look. But I agree with you on that because like I think like, you know, the whole point, you should be authentic. You could be an expert and be goofy and be smart, and like, you know, there doesn't have to be a differentiate like one or the other, right?
You have to put yourself in a box.
Yeah, exactly. Which is, I'm gonna piggyback off that.
Go ahead, I love it.
The first piggyback of the year.
A hate train. Let's start a hate train on this book.
Because that was actually going to be one of the things that I disliked, because he does talk about how when you can have like a, you know, your personal brand and then your professional brand, and if you have your professional brand, don't mix your personal life in your professional brand because it gives you a bad look. But then, you know, like I love Gary Vaynerchuk and I follow him on Instagram, and he's always like, no, like even in your professional business, like they want to know more than just about like the basics. Like for example, like everybody knows that he loves is it the Jets, the football team? I don't really know football. But even I know that team because he like loves them so much and talks about it. And he likes baseball cards and he likes all these other things. He's like, you know, you have to put a person kind of like to your brand too. You can't just like be only expert in one field. I mean, you could, but he believes in like more interactive. Yeah. You know, it makes you more relatable.
I guarantee you, y'all would have liked this book better if it wasn't read by a robot. If Gary Vee would have been reading this same book, y'all would have been all over it.
Because we're millennials.
Very possible.
You just want somebody to yell at you and tell you get off your ass.
This guy was so monotone. It was really
I'm
hard
not sure why they hired this dude to read the book. I mean, it was like, okay, stereo instructions, like you said, a reference book. Can you read me a textbook in the most boring possible way, please? There was good information in there. I mean, for old people like me, I mean, you know, it's good to know the differences in what you're trying to do. It was probably a little bit basic for y'all, people who've grown up with it your whole life, but I don't know that you were necessarily the target audience. I think it's probably for more Gen Z, more for, you know, Gen X. You know, it's probably not targeted towards y'all so much. These are for people that are trying to get businesses or already have businesses that want to get their marketing and stuff out and haven't really thought about that.
Mhm.
I mean, one of the things that did happen, has happened in my time, is I just rather work on my business and not work on the other stuff. And this one was kind of making the case that you can't afford to do that anymore. You can't hire a marketing person to go do it. You can hire a social manager. They said you could hire a social manager, but they said you can give them too much power right away. And if it's not you, if you're not putting a personal touch on it, then you're going to lose it right away, because you're supposed to be responding personally to these comments. You're supposed to be going out and going to other people's content, your competitors, and your the people that you're trying to influencers. I guess you're chasing influencers or becoming an influencer, and how to become it was exhausting. It's exhausting. And that guy was talking slow. If Gary Vee would have been talking, I would have had to take naps listening to that book.
Yeah.
I don't even take naps. So.
Okay, Shawn, playing devil's advocate. The book that we're trying to shit talk.
I think Shawn was right, though. This book was meant for an older audience who didn't grow up with technology. It was with the basics. Like, it was the basics of the basics of how to set up a profile, how to get people's attention. Didn't go much deeper than that.
Well, honestly, I was trying to figure out what channels I wanted to work on, right? So I've got YouTube. I'm still trying to figure out Twitter. I'm not sure if that's the right thing for me, and I got LinkedIn. Those are the three that I kind of took away and was trying to learn about. But, you know, it sounds like for y'all, I mean, I say y'all being millennials, not just the two of y'all, Instagram seems to be all the rage. Instagram, and he didn't really go into Snapchat and all the other kind of stuff. Instagram seemed to be the front runner for everything else. The content I'm not doing is necessarily taking pictures all the time.
Well, yeah, that's what he said. That's something I did like about the book, is that he goes into different platforms. He talks about Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest, Facebook, LinkedIn.
Pinterest was another one, yeah.
Yeah, and he goes into details about what they are, like the basics, like he talks about what a Pinterest board is and the news feed, you know, and this is what a pin is. It's a post. Like, so that was definitely very beginner. But I did have to say I'd learned some stuff about like Twitter. Like, they had like those note card things that I was like, what? Like, I didn't know Twitter had
I didn't
that.
know anything
I have
about
Twitter.
Either.
So.
You don't have Twitter?
No.
Do you have Pinterest?
Yes. Sorry to me that.
So no. So I mean, for someone like you that's going to be, I'm assuming you still want to get in the clothing business, you're going to do niche. You know, Pinterest would definitely be the place for you. For me, I don't have a product that I'm selling. I don't have I guess something I'm going to send in the mail, and you know, I'm looking to sell services.
Right.
Pinterest isn't going to work as well for me there, right? So.
Well, not necessarily, because so Pinterest is a good one, because that one you can have like a service business and a product business, because it is a lot about visuals, but it's not like Instagram where it has to be like your visual has to be perfect. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So for example, like Pinterest is a lot of information with people who have blogs. So people who are like marketing experts or whatever. Like, I could search like marketing tips 2021 and you'll find all these different blogs. So Pinterest can be a good resource for that. But that's another thing that they were saying is, like, if you have a service business, you don't want to be on Instagram, because how are you going to relate that to a picture? So Pinterest is kind of like an in-between where you'll still need to have a picture, but you can make, like, for example, an infographic. You can make a little infographic to describe how your service business works, and that you can use on Pinterest, but not really Instagram. So that one's kind of a good one.
But I'm interested, you know, the way it was explained. I don't know that I have the energy for TikTok, but I also thought that was another interesting one, right? So if you're doing short videos, you know, if you're doing public speaking, you can do that kind of stuff. Now, it seems like a lot of the things that get viral on TikTok are more funny, or, you know, or they're doing something very clever, right? So you have to be very creative, that kind of deal. But I could see where it definitely could be used in a more business-like type fashion. I just don't know how many people are going to try to shop around for a speaker going to TikTok looking for speakers, you know?
That's true.
But you could use it to get... Yeah.
Right?
Just ads, right? So go check out my website, blah, 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 you know, and be funny about it, and then they go see that you're a boring speaker.
Yeah.
Or just a, you know, regular straight-laced. You know, I don't want to be straight-laced. I'm just saying that, you know, it's just interesting. I found the book, I thought there was good information in there. I thought it was a horrible delivery.
Okay. I agree. What about you, Joseph? Tell us something that you liked about the book.
Okay. there were some nuggets of wisdom like you're talking about, and it like one thing they said, which I know is true, is that LinkedIn videos are very popular right now. And I've noticed, like, I'm very active on LinkedIn. Everyone who's posting videos that are exclusive to LinkedIn, they're getting a lot of free publicity just for posting it. It's like they pushing it in front of everybody. Same with, you were just talking about TikTok. Like, yeah, TikTok's still a great opportunity because you can use that to promote like your YouTube or your Instagram. So you can use it to build an online following very easily if you are clever. So,
which, just to jump in real quick, Joseph, I also heard that like TikTok makes it really universal. So like if you make a video on TikTok, you can post that same video across pretty much any platform you want, like Snapchat, Instagram, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like some of them don't let you do that, but TikTok does. Just side note.
Yeah, that's a good point. It makes it a lot easier. So TikTok's definitely an opportunity. LinkedIn videos are an opportunity. They did give some good opportunities. Those cards they were talking about on Twitter, I never heard about that. So there was some good information. I just wish it was less dry and that I could go back and look for it instead of having to just remember it all, because I'm not going to listen to the whole book to find it again. So
fair enough.
I tried listening to it twice, and even then I was like, I can't. I had to like skip over some stuff. Anyways, okay. But yeah, I agree with that, Joseph. There is something else that they said, which I thought was very interesting. He says basically any post you have, I think on any platform, it has to be at least a picture, a video, or have a link attached to it.
Yeah.
So like because even on Twitter, like back in the day, it was basically it was meant to be like an SMS, like a texting app, like just words specifically. Mm-hmm. But even now, the posts that perform way better are the ones with pictures or videos.
Yeah.
Or even link, but even more so the photos rather than links. So even Twitter, we're just a visual world, I guess. Like,
yeah.
Our attention spans are getting smaller is the problem.
But that was the point of Twitter, is that you could only have 240 characters because they didn't want to
random. It was 140. I think it's 280 now. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, something like
that. Did they talk about the new one, the Clubhouse that's going on? Talking like a boomer. Did they talk about the Clubhouse? Have you guys heard about that?
No.
It's it's all audio, I believe. So it's like an audio only experience. So so they didn't talk about the newest one, but it may have come out before that happened. That's like the newest social media.
Maybe. I haven't heard of that yet. That's how you know I'm getting old.
Wow. This sucks, doesn't it? Getting old. I'm going to sit here and Google it a lot just so I don't feel so old.
Yeah. That is something, yeah, just a little bit more about the book. I think a lot of the concepts, like Joseph said, is something that we could have found on Google or stuff that I think we've heard before, like the being authentic and figuring out your brand and make sure you post regularly, like that basic kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. I kind of wish that they had gone more in depth, which he did go in depth on certain things. Like, for example, he's like, oh, do you want to start a blog? Okay, here are all these different types of websites you can do to start a blog, and here are the pros and cons of each one.
Yeah.
So I thought that was really awesome for him to do that. Because I have been thinking, like, well, I do want to start a blog, but I think I'd just go the video route for me personally. But anyway, so that part was nice. But something else, like, even when he would go in depth on certain things, I feel like I wish he would have taken the extra step. So, for example, he talks about Instagram, and he talks about how, which I have heard before too, if you're going to make an Instagram, you have to have your posts all consistent, like similar in some kind of way. But I still am not grasping the concept of how they have to be similar. Like, he did give the examples of, like, either all
color schemes and templates. Yeah.
Like, so for example, he said, okay, if you're wearing a red shirt one day, another post has to have a red building, and then another post, a red cup, and that's enough of consistency. But I'm like, is that the only way? Because that sounds ridiculous. I don't know. Maybe that's just me being pessimist.
It could be filters. It could be like the font you use, I guess, over and over.
But then he contradicted himself because he's like, yeah, you could do the same. There's this app that lets you make sure you have the same filter for all your photos. But then it's like, but on the other hand, you probably want different filters to make you look better in different photos. And I'm like, well, which one is it? Like I was getting a lot of contradictory stuff from this book that I didn't like. So
this book made us mad.
That's why it's not my favorite too. That's another reason. But overall, it's decent. It's definitely like if you're a beginner and you don't know anything about any platform, I would definitely recommend it. But with that being said, that leads us into our last question. What is something that you learned in the book that you didn't know before? And give me an example of how you're going to apply it to real life. How about Shawn, you go first? Because Joseph's been going first the whole time. Give him a break for a minute.
You know, after I listened to the book and my son was talking to me, my son was talking to me a little bit more about TikTok, I did some more research to it. I have not downloaded TikTok. I haven't watched it. I heard it's like uber addictive. But I have YouTube, so I can go to YouTube and watch TikTok videos, the ones that went viral, like the shanties that they're doing and all that kind of stuff. I thought that was pretty cute. So that's one thing I did learn. I think one thing that I may apply to what I'm going to do is he talked about YouTube templates. I need to learn a little bit more about that. So it got me intrigued enough since I'm doing YouTube content to look at content. I need to work on thumbnails and those types of deals. So I would say those are going to be my takeaways. If you look at more TikTok, Joseph's already turned me on to this other thing, like living in a podcast evidently. So it's like this ongoing podcast sort of deal. Yep. I'm sorry, that has nothing to do with the book. But then using YouTube templates, I think I'm gonna look into that and see what that's all about.
Mm-hmm. Definitely, there was a lot of stuff on YouTube that I didn't realize either. Like apparently, if you're gonna be on YouTube, you need to like post daily, and I'm like, oh, that's great. So I'll have to figure that out.
Everybody can't be Joseph Warren.
I stopped, but yeah.
You stopped, Joseph?
Well, not completely daily. I started taking breaks every once in a while. Yeah. No, but I'm still making videos. I made a video just on Sunday.
He's a Thursday, Friday, Saturday guy now. No, I think there could be some serious burnout there, right? So I mean, you probably need to pick your poison. Maybe just a couple of days a week, something like that.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. I mean, I linked my webpage to the Hustle and Know channel, and I've got it to my channel. And I think this week, actually, my last video went, so I need to get off my ass and get ready for my next Tuesday post.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I've been seeing those on my feed. The money, the different forms of money. 5-minute money. What's it called?
5-minute thoughts.
5-minute thoughts. Yeah.
Well, that's another thing I learned about YouTube is that there's like a news feed for YouTube, and now you have to use YouTube like another social media platform where you make posts and stuff, which I didn't realize that was a thing on YouTube.
Yeah, it's something to try out. Yeah.
So I guess I could piggyback that off to you too, Shawn. Like I am gonna learn more about YouTube and all that it has to offer, especially because you can create like. I think they said like different channels or different playlists, but that are open to the public, you know, because I remember like you can make your own playlist like for your personal, but I guess it's the same if it's public or not. I don't know.
Well, that's what I think the playlist thing is, and I'm trying to figure out myself. It's like mine's a series, a 10-part series. So if you click on the first one, will it automatically roll to the next one? I thought that's what playlists were doing, but I'd have to test that out.
Mm-hmm. Well, good. Joseph, what are you going to do?
What did I learn?
Yeah.
He didn't learn anything.
I know, right? You just hated.
No, I learned. Okay. I don't mean to be so hard on this book. It's good that they made it. I just think I actually would recommend it for someone who doesn't know a lot about social media and wants to start using it to promote something. I would definitely recommend it for someone like that. And I think just to be strategic in building your brand and really be aware of all the different new additions because they're constantly evolving. YouTube's evolving, TikTok's evolving. So as new stuff comes out, just try it out, see how it works with your brand and see creative ways that you can use it to help yourself. I don't know specifically how I'm going to use that, but just keeping up to date with like the new features of TikTok and YouTube and maybe Twitter to make sure that I'm using it. Or maybe even LinkedIn. It's so much work though. See how I'm using
full-time job, Joseph.
Facebook. I'm just kidding. And LinkedIn to make sure that I'm using it correctly.
Mm-hmm.
And working in the sweet spot, like they're promoting LinkedIn native videos, so why not make some LinkedIn videos? It fits my brand, right? So
definitely, if it's your brand.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what they say. Like you should pick like 2 or 3 platforms and really become an expert at it. And we kind of knew that already. Gary said that, like, it's only going to hurt your image if you have a platform and then you don't post on it ever, because then you're going to come off as irrelevant. So, yeah.
Yeah, and one of the other things you did talk about, and we talked about kind of in the beginning of this video, you were talking about newspapers and yellow pages and all that kind of stuff, was the analytics. Now, the one thing that I do find fascinating is the analytics part. Not that I got a whole lot to look at from an analytics, but the fact that that just gets baked in and you can go in and look at it. The other point I was going to make is I'm still trying to figure out MailChimp. It's not incredibly intuitive, but you can do a lot of stuff with that as well, building lists and that kind of stuff with a website, and also trying to use it for some of your other feeds. And I almost feel like MailChimp, even though it's not outward facing, but it's customer, growing and audience and getting messages out. It's almost a platform. I guess it's not quite social media, but it's kind of behind the scenes. You can use it in different places. I would like to know more about that as well.
Mm-hmm. I do have a little bit of experience with MailChimp. From my experience, it's basically a platform that you use to sell like email marketing, which they did mention in the book is actually still very popular, and it's probably not going to go away anytime soon. Everybody has their emails. Everybody checks their emails, and so that's still a really good platform to reach out to people if you build that database up. So, and then, and that's another tips that they've said in the book too. Like if you're going to have your product or something that you're promoting, or you're going to make like if you want to be an expert in something and you make an ebook on it, you can give it away for free as long as they sign up for your newsletter,
Right.
So that's like a way that you can build traction and build a following. So I knew that already, though. Just kidding. So for me, yeah, a lot of the stuff I knew already. Some of the things, like I said, I didn't know were like the little tidbits about like Facebook playlists, and I don't really know about Twitter. But I am going to learn more about it. But something that I am going to do and take away from this book is to kind of like take their advice of just like being social on social media. I think for me personally, it's like what we learned in like the happiness advantage, where when we have like something like to do, like a task that we don't want to do, we kind of just like dread it, and then we procrastinate on it because of that. We just build it up in our heads to make it so much worse than it actually is. And then you have to like switch your mindset to be like, it's not bad at all. I enjoy doing this or something like that. So I'm going to work on applying that to social media, because I'm a very social person, but I prefer like human to human social rather than like online. But I'm going to be switching my mindset to be like, it's the same thing. You're communicating with people. It's just a different way to do it. So you're still connecting. So, which I know we've heard before, though, like you need to go look at other Facebook groups or any kind of groups or whatever. Find other pages doing similar things and like comment on them, like on them. And this book too, they give you statistics on like if you find a page, like you should put like 7 to 10 of their posts, and then if you comment, you get like 50-something% chance that they're going to follow you back. That kind of stuff. Yeah. So I'm going to start being more active with engaging the community.
Yeah, you just got to block some time out and do it, right? You just got to block some time out and do it.
Mm-hmm.
Try to block out time to watch Joseph videos, but he's all over the place. I have to figure out what mood I'm in.
Yeah.
They're good.
It's got a lot of good stuff out there.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, overall, definitely a book I think to check out for those social media people or who do not know a lot about social media. If you're a millennial, just kidding.
Yeah.
Just kidding. If you want to learn more about Pinterest, LinkedIn, because apparently LinkedIn might be an all-paid platform in the future, check that out by listening to the book. They talk about that. Yeah, Twitter, all that. Then check out this book. Okay, any last comments?
Do we have there's a book with a very similar title. Do you have a picture of it?
Wait, do I have a picture of this book?
Yeah.
No, I mean, I have the image on my Audible.
Yeah, I was going to show that just because the book is, it's hard to find. That's what the book looks like.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I was going to show.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's the book, everybody. The only other tidbit I'd want to say is basically the key of social media marketing is basically try and repeat. So like post, see what works, see what doesn't, do it all over again. And that's forever spend the time. And that you kind of have to be on social media right now because, or like if you're a business or a personal brand or anything, you kind of have to be, because if that's now kind of like the day and age where everybody's expecting it. You know, if you have a product or a business, you can't not have a website or not have a social media platform, or you kind of are like irrelevant and nobody can give you the time of day. So even if you don't like social media, hire somebody, but try to put your personal touch in it because it'll help you in the long run, according to them.
It's true, though. I believe that. That's true.
Well, we're going to be trying it out for all three of our businesses, and we will let you know. Okay, well, thank you so much for watching. You can find more about the book in the description. And thank you again for watching. It's our first video of 2021, so you'll have so much more to come. And don't forget, hustle beats talent when talent doesn't hustle. Bye, we'll see you next time.